Okay, I'm back for another consequence video for Life is Strange Double Exposure. This time we're looking at all of the consequences related to
Gwen?
standing with Gwen or saving the footage. A major decision you have to make in chapter 2 of Life is Strange. And this one is so hard. I think in the moment I struggled with this one a lot in my first play because morally I would absolutely choose stand with Gwen, but as a gamer, I wanted to know what was on that flash drive. And I was like thinking about it the whole rest of the time I played until I quickly played again and saw. But that's not the point. It was hard.
Now, there are actually 3 paths to this choice.
And I know you're really confused because there's only 2 choices.
But don't worry, I'll explain later on in this video.
Let's start with Stand With Gwen since that's a little easier to explain. So immediately after making this choice, it'll go like this.
So, how does catharsis feel?
Honestly? Terrifying. But also feels pretty fucking great to set something on fire right now. Thanks, Max. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you hearing me.
And then in the same scene as Gwen leaves, Max will have another question for her.
Gwen, wait. I need to ask you something.
If you chose Stand With Gwen and then you ask, did you hear about Safi's book?
Is it true they canceled Safi's book deal?
Gwen will respond like this.
So, she told you?
Word travels. You were her mentor, right? Do you know why?
In my experience, some mysteries are better left that way.
And if you chose, why did you kill Safi's book? Gwen will respond like this.
Why did you kill Safi's book deal?
Do you have to know everything, Max?
She's my friend.
In my experience, some mysteries are better left that way.
There's more. Just as Gwen walks away, you might get this mysterious text from Safi. Hey Max, weird question, but did you also feel a chill run down your spine a minute ago? Spooky. Because I swear someone just walked across my grave, which is crazy, because I don't have a grave. Never mind. Disregard this. Probably stress or something. Now, if you get this text, and you don't always, Max can respond in 2 ways. Well, 3 if you count not responding. You okay? That is freaky. You sure you're all right? Yeah, it's weird, but not the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. That is true. Oh man, that happened to me before, but it turned out to be nothing. Okay, cool. Let's hope the same thing is true this time. Yeah. And then there's some sort of emoji expressing an emotional moment. If you stood by Gwen and also answered that mysterious phone before speaking to Gwen,
Hello?
you will always get this message. That's not the case for Save the Footage.
In the next scene, you'll have access to Max's journal entry about the situation. Of course, she has to write about it. And if you chose Stand With Gwen, she's going to say this. December 6th. As you probably know, every instinct told me to grab Gwen's flash drive from the flames. But who am I to deny her catharsis? Even if it won't last forever, it's the principle of the thing, you know? Can you imagine the old Max you knew saying that? And then further along in the last scene of chapter 2, scene 5, you're gonna not see the flash drive on your evidence spread. It's just not gonna be there. You didn't take it. Makes sense. Continue. And page 2 of your chapter 2 results screen will of course be Stand With Gwen. And it will say, Gwen is grateful for your support. Chapter 3, scene 1, you're looking at the evidence on the darkroom table downstairs and the flash drive's not gonna be there either. Imagine that. You don't even know what you're missing, except for that feeling of desperation of really wanting to see what's on that flash drive and knowing you could have, but you didn't. But we will see it later. Even Max's Notes app will have unanswered questions like we do about what was on this flash drive. But just notice that it ends with Gwen was caught on camera dealing drugs to students but swears it wasn't her. Is this doppelganger-itis again? Okay, just note that.
Now, it's important to remind you that your choice to stand with Gwen happened in the living timeline, and that means Gwen could be very suspicious of you in the dead timeline if you called Loretta's bluff.
Stay out of my way.
And at the same time, feel supported by you in the living.
I appreciate you listening.
In Chapter 3, Scene 2, when you're meeting Moses at the Overlook, Gwen will send a crosstalk post and you could tell she feels supported. Unfortunately, I've been placed on leave from Caledon University. Thank you to my colleagues who have been with me on this journey for years. This is unfortunate, but I'm looking ahead to what's next. This is absolutely ridiculous. Please let me know if you need anything. Their purported acclaim is because of your investment in students. I'm beyond disgusted with these people. I know you're innocent, Dr. Hunter. I wouldn't be surprised if Caledon's trying to cover up something. Conspiracies.
Notice Max does not comment about this post.
And when you're back in the admin building talking to Vin, trying to trade information,
No more free secrets. I have a reputation to protect.
you only have two options here if you stood with Gwen. You could only say you and Safi were together or Lucas filed a restraining order against Safi. There's no third option. Going to the next chapter, Chapter 3, Scene 4, at the Snapping Turtle, when you're so depressed about everything that's going on, but maybe that could be brightened up in a few moments, depending on your other choices. You can have an optional conversation with Gwen here. But before we do that, you can go over to Gwen and look at her. If you chose Stand with Gwen, it'll go like this.
Gwen and I have both had terrific days, it looks like.
And if you choose to speak, it'll go like this.
Hey, Gwen.
We just keep meeting like this.
Guess we've both had bad days.
You have a disciplinary hearing tomorrow, too?
I did get into it with Yasmin. She lied to my face.
Oh, to your face? Phew. She must really like you. You want my input? Cut and run. Caledon is shiny, but trust me, it's a tar pit.
Looking at Gwen again after the conversation, Max will think something new.
Gwen deserved better. Whatever comes next, I hope she's happy.
I'd like to point out that if you choose not to talk to Gwen in this scene, that's okay. It doesn't affect your future Stand with Gwen consequences. But that's not true for Save the Footage. There's so much to discuss later. It's all pent up with other things. And in the end results screen for Chapter 3, it is not possible for you to have the last one where Gwen was framed because you don't know that she was framed, right? So your only possibilities are the other two. So skipping ahead a few, in Chapter 4, Scene 2, when you're at the Krampus party and you're trying to recruit people to help with the whole Lucas situation.
And that leaves Gwen. Be nice to have her support. She hates Lucas as much as I do, but I doubt she'd listen to me.
Max will be confident and just say this.
I'll talk to her.
Great.
And even though they're on good terms, I don't know if Max should have been so confident, because when you do talk to Gwen, here's how that conversation will unfold if you stood by her.
Hey, just the troublemaker I wanted to see.
Me? Really?
Figured I ought to tell you how this whole saga turned out. Board fired my ass.
Oh, Gwen. I'm so sorry.
So, is that what you came over here for?
Safi has a plan to tell the truth about Lucas's book during the roast. It would be a lot more credible if someone from the faculty backed us up.
You know, when I first took this gig, I was always trying so hard to make a difference. And now I know that I can't. Not here, anyway. If I've got any fight left, I'm not spending it on this place. I hope you two get him, but I didn't sign up to confront anybody tonight.
Hey, I totally get that. I'll still miss you. I can't picture this place without you.
We'll see each other again. I don't intend to slip that easily into obscurity.
I hope whatever you do, it's so successful you can rub it in everyone's face later.
I'll miss that optimism.
Yeah, Gwen does not agree to help, even though you're on good terms, because she does not feel the need to fight this anymore. And that makes sense.
And because of this, after confirmation that Vin has been recruited, Max will say this.
I wasn't able to convince Gwen.
Figures. Don't worry about it. We've got bigger problems.
And because Gwen completely left the roast at this point, she's not there anymore. You can't see her during the roast. You can't talk to her after the roast. And not only that, she left completely for the rest of the game. Even in chapter 5, she's nowhere to be seen, but you will get a text from her that gives you a clue where she's been. What the hell was that storm, Max? It's hard to explain. Forget it. I'll chalk it up to another of many traumas I'm leaving behind. Winnebago or Big Bertha? Huh? We bought a Winnebago and it needs a name. I'm privy to Winnebago. Claudia's pushing Big Bertha. To be fair, I think Winnebago is like so creative, but I don't like that it's like only about Gwen. Like, what about Claudia? So that's a tough one for me. And Max can respond with Winnebago. Winnebago has a certain ring to it. I knew we were cool, Max. Winnebago it is. Or Big Bertha. I'd listen to Claudia. Same thing she said. Big Bertha it is. And then regardless, Gwen will always respond with, thanks, Max. We're heading on the road. I'll send you pics. I guess as a default, Max will just respond, have fun. But if way back in chapter 2, when you're sneaking around Gwen's office and you're looking at all of her stuff in the dead timeline, if you took a snapshot of her bookend,
Live fast, eat ass. Wise words.
Max will end her text like this instead. Live fast, eat ass, Gwen. Ha, no wiser words spoken. Those little things are so great to me because somebody took the time to really fine-tune the experience, and I just think that's so great, and I love finding them. And that even comes down to very, very random cutaways at the end of this scene.
I think it's time I explained a few things.
Because Gwen's not there, all 4 of these cutaways are going to be different.
What's coming next is going to be difficult.
They also change depending on another choice you make, which is for another video.
But we're going to get through it together. I promise.
But this is what they look like without Gwen. And your final results screen for chapter 5 for Gwen's next move, because you chose Stand with Gwen, it will definitely be Gwen chose to move on from Caledon. Okay, let's move to all the consequences for if you save the footage instead. And there's a lot more because, again, like I said, there's a 2-way split at some point. So let's take a look, of course, starting with the immediate dialogue.
What the fuck?
Gwen, listen, if I can just get a look at this footage, I might be able to help.
I didn't ask for your help, Max. Jesus, I didn't even ask for your company. I just wanted to get stoned and watch that thing burn. Whatever. Do what you want. It's too cold for this shit.
Gwen, wait. I need to ask you something.
Wait just a minute, Max. Before we answer your questions, did you notice an achievement popped? You'll receive the Clumian achievement if you found all the evidence possible for your evidence box. There are 6 items possible, and this flash drive is one of them. So you can only get this achievement if you saved the footage.
Now, Gwen is not happy at all with Max. So when Max has another question to ask Gwen, it goes a little differently this time. If you ask, did you hear about Safi's book?
Is it true they canceled Safi's book deal?
Gwen will now respond like this.
Oh, Jesus, Max. Have you ever tried not being so goddamn nosy?
Wouldn't you want to know why?
In my experience, some mysteries are better left that way.
And if you said, why did you kill Safi's book?
Why did you kill Safi's book deal?
Gwen will say this.
Were you going through my computer?
What? No, she told me, but not why.
Jesus.
And Gwen is so angry she doesn't even respond to the question.
Wait, what's that? No mysterious text from Safi? That's right. If you chose Did You Hear About Safi's book, you will get the message. But if you pick Save the Footage and Why Did You Kill Safi's book?
Jesus.
Even after answering the mysterious phone,
Hello?
Safi will never send that message. And I should know, I tested this scene alone nearly 60 times with every combination of choices before and after related to Gwen, even collecting every mysterious object or combinations of mysterious objects, and it will never pop if you chose this combination. Sure, this could be a coding error, a simple mistake in the if-else statement for this choice, but I don't think so. It could also be because Gwen might have touched Safi's grave when she steps forward in the other 3 variations. But I don't think that's it either. She walked that way in all 4 variations as she was leaving initially. So by her not stepping forward, it shouldn't have an effect. I believe it was intentional. Max knows there are strange things at the Overlook. She even mentioned wanting to find more.
I should check for more weird shit.
Gwen making the statement about mysteries
Some mysteries are better left that way.
was the last strange thing Max could find, causing a vibration that reached Safi and gave her a chill that ran down her spine. That's very spooky and very exciting, but what do you think?
Something strange is happening.
And the journal entry on page 10 or 11, depending on some other choices, that pops in chapter 2, scene 4 will now go like this. I know what you would have said. Let it burn, Max. And trust me, I wanted to, just not as much as I wanted to know what was on that flash drive. And yeah, I know I can't fix everything, but I can help Gwen. I have to try, don't I? Okay, chapter 2, scene 5 now. In your evidence spread on the coffee table of the Hellerton house, you are going to see the flash drive. It's going to be there. It's going to be burned, but saved.
While I do want to see this so-called incriminating footage of Gwen, it's probably best to wait till Moses leaves to check it.
And your chapter 2 results screen on page 2 for the Gwen section will of course be save the footage, and will clearly say that Gwen feels betrayed by you. Speaking of your evidence, now finally in chapter 3, scene 1, you can see it on the table and you get to watch it.
Hold on. She's looking right at the camera, like she knows it's there. Does she want to get caught? Or is this another doppelganger?
Ooh, and then you can examine it.
None of this is adding up. Why would Gwen want to be caught?
And then sometime after this point, your notes app will be updated. At this point, a new paragraph is added. The flash drive footage of Gwen dealing sure looked like her, but that smirk directly at the camera raises even more questions. Yes, it does. I hope you've actually played the game because there's way too many spoilers. I just realized I was being like, and we know who it is, but maybe you don't. And I was like, well, you better know who it is. Because otherwise we're ruining the game by you watching this. Go play the game, finish the game, and then come back, okay? So, yeah. Okay, but in chapter 3, scene 2, when you're meeting Moses at the Overlook, this time Gwen's Crosstalk post shows that they don't feel supported. Unfortunately, I've been placed on leave from Caledon. Obviously, the years I've invested in this place are not enough for people to realize my integrity and values. Thank you to everyone who has had the decency to respect my privacy at this time. I'm sorry you're going through this, Gwen. I don't believe any of it. The people who truly know you know how insane this is. Why'd they fire you? Did they have evidence? Drew, they did, but it wasn't real. It wasn't real, Drew.
Some of that was definitely directed at me.
But good news, maybe, when you're talking to Vin and trying to get him to trade the tea with you, you have another option where you can reveal more secrets, a new one, where you can say Gwen was framed. So I feel like that's good news because you're letting people know that it wasn't real. I'm trying to like make the best of the situation. So because you can choose that, here's what that sounds like here.
The thing about Gwen selling hard drugs, that wasn't her. She was framed.
Max, I get that you like Dr. Hunter. We all do, but there's video evidence.
I saw the footage. Gwen smiles at the camera. Like she wanted to get caught.
I'm not going to ask how you got your hands on confidential material from an official school investigation.
Good, because I'm not telling you.
Skipping ahead to chapter 3, scene 4, when you're looking for some distractions from like your feelings and stuff. Okay, another video. You can optionally talk to Gwen if you remember, and this is the point, because you chose save the footage, that it splits even more. If you don't talk to Gwen here at all, that's fine. You don't have to, it's optional. Things change. Things are different, okay? But if you do, you can look at her.
There's Gwen. I should tell her about that weird security footage.
And if you speak with Gwen, it'll go like this.
Hey, Gwen.
Oh, Jesus Christ, here we go.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I really think you should take a look at the footage. It's weird. Like, game-changingly weird. I think you should fight this.
I'll look into it. Anything else?
Oh, that's all. I hope. Just take care.
And that's why it splits, because if you spoke to her, you actually give her the footage. You can't choose whether you give her the footage or not. You just automatically do if you speak to her. And if you look at her again after you had the conversation, Max will think this.
I hope that footage helps with the hearing. Maybe then Gwen will forgive me.
So now you saved the footage, upset Gwen, but never did anything with it option. And then you have the saved the footage, you upset Gwen, but then you gave it to her. And now it's possible in the chapter 3 results screen for you to have this result. Max told Vin that Gwen was framed for dealing drugs. And now it gets a little bit kind of tangled and complicated in this next part. So we're skipping ahead to chapter 4, scene 2, when you're at the Krampus party, the roast. And again, you're trying to recruit Gwen to help you call out Lucas. Oh my God, I was going to say Samuel. What weird subconscious. This is not Samuel.
Unless it's fate.
It's nothing like Samuel.
I don't like it at all.
If you save the footage and also gave it to Gwen, that's how I'm going to refer to it from now on. But really, you know, that's save the footage and talk to Gwen in chapter 3, scene 4. That's much harder to say. Save the footage and gave it to Gwen. Max is going to have the same reaction as she did with Stand By Gwen. She's going to feel confident.
But I doubt she'd listen to me.
I'll talk to her.
Great.
If you did not give the footage to Gwen, but you saved it, you're just hanging on to it for your own fun, I guess, Max is not going to be too confident.
But I doubt she'd listen to me.
We're not on great terms, but I can try.
Great.
And her perception of those situations are very accurate in this case. So when you approach Gwen to speak, if you saved the footage and gave it to her, the initial conversation will go like this.
Hey, just the troublemaker I wanted to see.
Me? Really?
Yeah, you were right. That security footage was weird. I showed it to the board.
And?
Didn't make a fucking ounce of difference. Got fired anyway.
Sophie's power over perception in others seems to imprint on objects as well.
Oh, Gwen. I'm so sorry.
So, is that what you came over here for?
But if you didn't give her the footage, the only thing she's going to say at the beginning of the conversation is this.
Hey.
What is it, Max?
Yeah, she is not happy with you at all. The conversation will then continue in all the variations, including Stand By Gwen with this section again. You heard it before.
Sophie has a plan to tell the truth about Lucas's book during the roast. It would be a lot more credible if someone from the faculty backed us up.
But then it splits again. So if you did not give her the footage, but you saved it.
All I wanted was one last drink before I left this place forever.
but then it's going to be the same as Stand with Gwen. So again, easier to just show you.
I hope you two get him, but I didn't sign up to confront anybody tonight.
Hey, I totally get that. I'll still miss you. I can't picture this place without you.
We'll see each other again. I don't intend to slip that easily into obscurity.
I hope whatever you do, it's so successful you can rub it in everyone's face later.
I'll miss that optimism.
After this conversation, it seems like she's left you with a slightly better perspective about Max than she had before. She's not just straight angry. She does leave the roast completely, but she doesn't leave for good, which you'll see coming up. But if you save the footage and gave it to her, Gwen's gonna have something else to say.
I hadn't realized how much fight I'd lost until that hearing today. Forgot how much better it feels to stand for something. Fuck it, I'm in.
Thank you, Gwen. Really.
So, when does this all go down?
Don't worry. You won't miss it.
She decides to help out with the roast, and it's so exciting. It's the only way you can make this happen. And because she stuck around, you can look at her too.
One more witness against Lucas. Thanks, Gwen.
And that means there are more consequences, like when you finally get confirmation of Vin's support.
If you did not give the footage to Gwen, it's essentially the same as Stand with Gwen. You didn't give her the footage there, she didn't help. You took the footage, you didn't give it to her, she didn't help, right? So the response will be exactly the same for Max here.
I wasn't able to convince Gwen.
Figures. Don't worry about it. We've got bigger problems.
But if you did talk to Gwen in that earlier chapter, you gave her the footage, Max is going to say this.
Great. Gwen's on board too.
Damn. Hope it's not for nothing.
And then very exciting, you get to watch Gwen kick ass against Lucas, even though he kind of shuts her down, but like still it's good. He's shutting everyone down. He's got so much like odd power. But here's that whole scene.
Maya believed in my work. She believed in me.
That's a load of horse shit, Coleman Arrow. Everything Vin Lang said is true. I should know. Because I helped cover it up. I shouldn't have, but I did. And so did this university. We all helped make sure that man never faced a single consequence.
That's despicable.
Horrible. Petty of you, Gwen, trying to take me down with you. Unfortunately, Dr. Hunter was just terminated for, well, highly illegal conduct.
That has nothing to do with this.
In fact, her very presence on this campus may be unlawful in and of itself. Gwen, we've been colleagues for years. I understand you're disgruntled, but I hope in the future you can channel your anger more productively.
How fucking dare you?
Wow. Sorry about that, folks.
And I love this. Gwen is still at the turtle after the roast, so there's even more stuff to do. First, you can look at her.
She finally did right by Maya.
And then if you speak to her, there's more variation.
Can you guess what major choice these variations are based on?
That worked out better than I expected.
Safi was phenomenal. I'm proud of her. Who knew Vin had it in him? He surprised me.
If you didn't guess, don't worry. I'll show you in another major choice video.
Didn't feel so great what Lucas said to me, though.
It meant a lot to Safi that you came forward.
Yeah? Thanks, Max.
And then finally, in the very last scene, chapter 5, final scene, you're not going to get a text from Gwen because she didn't go on the road trip. She is still there. You can find her at the back patio door. And of course, you can look at her.
The last time I saw Gwen, she was wrecked.
And then you can talk, of course.
Some weather we're having, am I right?
Hope that wasn't the grand explanation you promised us.
Hey, isn't eloquence your job? I just take the photos.
I felt how much she hated me, Max. It was terrifying. And disappointing.
And Max can respond in 2 different ways. She can either say, no one could have predicted this.
Sophie was dealing with a lot. You couldn't have known.
She needed someone she could trust. It should have been me.
Or this happened because of Yasmin.
Yasmin played everyone against each other, Gwen. She used you.
I don't think I've ever felt like such a mark.
And then the conversation continues regardless.
It's in the past now.
I hope so.
And then the conversation seems like it's ended. But if you also gave her the footage, Gwen's gonna stop Max and say this.
Oh, one more thing. That video footage of me, that was Sophie, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. That girl never does anything halfway. Neither do you, now that I think about it. Anyway, I talked to the committee that fired me. There's enough weird shit that's happened. I think I can argue my way back in. I failed Sophie. But there's other students here I can still support. I won't just let it go.
I'm glad to hear it.
And this difference even continues in the snapshot you can optionally take of Gwen.
If you did not give Gwen that footage, the snapshot conversation will start like this.
Mind if I take a snapshot to remember you by?
Gwen will automatically give the rock star pose with no option to toggle.
And if you post it on Crosstalk, it will always say this. It wasn't until I met Gwen that I learned what a bad bitch truly was. Isabel says, couldn't have said it better. No matter what happens now, there'll never be another like Dr. Hunter. And Reggie says, I found out when I tried to turn in a paper late once. Never again.
If you did give Gwen that footage, the conversation will start like this.
Mind if I take a snapshot to remember you by?
Oh, whatever you want. This could be your last chance to take my photo. Make it count.
Then she starts in the rock star position, but you have the option to toggle to a smile.
Say, I escaped a crazy storm and all I got was this photo.
Fucking lousy trade.
There it is.
And if you take that shot and post it, the caption will be, a rare treat for us all, a smiling Dr. Gwen Hunter. And Claudia says, is that my wife? How did you get her to smile? Gwen said, it was the only way to get her to leave me in peace for a few minutes. Yeah, right, Gwen. You are happy. Admit it. You love it.
And because you can toggle to a smile, you can also toggle back to the rock star and hear what Max and Gwen say.
I'm thinking something that says, give 'em hell.
Of course, if you post that rockstar photo, it will be the same caption and comments that we already read.
And now because Gwen is there at the Snapping Turtle, our 4 random cutaways in Max's final closing speech include Gwen. So they look like this.
What's coming next is going to be difficult. But we're going to get through it together. I promise.
And of course, in your final results screen, you now have 2 possible options that you can get as a Gwen's next move result. If you save the footage and did not give it to Gwen, that's when you'll get the Gwen accepted the committee's decision. If you save the footage and did give it to Gwen or talk to her in chapter 3, scene 4, right? Then you will get the Gwen will keep fighting the committee's decision result. I'm curious though, what do you think is the best ending for Gwen? I mean, I kind of think that the saving footage and not giving it to her is not an option to me as like the best ending. But like Stand With Gwen, she's like, you know what? I don't need to deal with this. I'm going on the road with my wife. I'm spending time like Claudia always talked about her being so busy at work and stuff, and like they get to like just live, you know? That's a great ending. Or she's like, "No, I'm going to fight for what's like my honor, not my honor. I'm going to fight for my reputation." That's the word I'm looking for. And actually like prove herself and like she feels motivated, and you get that smiling option, which kind of feels like maybe the best ending. Like it's supposed to be, but I don't know. I think they're both really great for different reasons. So let me know what you think. And check out more consequence videos because there's so many more. This is just one major choice. There's so many more. So I'll see you there. Bye.